The first time the house called my name, I thought it was my sister playing a joke. I was driving down Lincoln Street, my GPS on, and as I turned onto Elm, the voice from the navigation system said, "You have arrived at your destination." I pulled up to what looked like a vacant lot, a patch of dirt where a house should be. I got out to take a closer look and there was the usual no trespassing sign and a few old tree stumps. Back in the truck, I checked the address on the screen, 1473, Lincoln Street. I was sure I had entered it right. Maybe it was a new construction? I tried calling the customer to check if they were running late or if I was at the wrong address, but the phone rang straight to voicemail. So, I decided to check again and see if I could find any other information online about the address or the house, but it didn't come up. I shrugged, marked it attempted delivery, and moved on to the next stop. But over the next few days, I kept getting sent back to 1473, Lincoln Street. Each time I arrived at the lot, there was still no sign of a house. The navigation system continued to insist that I had arrived at my destination, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I started to wonder if the company had made a mistake, or if there was some kind of prank going on. I decided to do some digging. I pulled out my phone and started searching for any information I could find about the address. But there was nothing. No property records, no real estate listings, no news stories about the house or its occupants. It was like the house didn't exist. I started to feel a little spooked, to be honest. Every time I was sent to that address, I felt a creeping sense of dread. It was like the house was calling me, even though it was impossible. And I couldn't help but wonder, what if I did finally deliver to that address? What if there was something waiting for me there? One night, I was driving home from a long day of deliveries when the GPS beeped and said, "You have arrived at your destination." I groaned and pulled up the navigation system. But this time, instead of the usuals "You have arrived at 1473, Lincoln Street," the screen said, "Destination unknown." I laughed out loud, relieved that this was finally over. But as I looked around, I realized that I had actually arrived at a small, abandoned house on the outskirts of town. And as I got out to take a closer look, I saw that the house had a small address plate on the door, 1473, Lincoln Street. I stood there for a moment, staring at the house. What did it mean? How had I ended up here? I took a deep breath, trying to calm down. Maybe I had just made a mistake. Maybe I had gotten turned around or something. But as I looked back up at the house, I could have sworn I saw a shadow move in one of the windows. And I knew that I needed to get out of there and fast.